Oh, well, you know what? It always seems as though when we go down there to Clemson Memorial Stadium, aka Death Valley, you know what? It seems as though we rescued defeat from the jaws of victory. Yes, it was just like the last time it was when we were down there in Clemson Memorial Stadium. We had a pretty good lead going into the fourth quarter, but then we collapse. Yeah, we start playing awful. Clemson starts coming alive. Of course, they switched quarterbacks out. They didn't have DJ Ukulele, or whatever you say his last name is. Yeah, I wonder if he plays the ukulele. But if he starts singing like Tiny Tim, I'm going to turn him off. Yeah, hi, looky, hi, hi. Hi, looky, hi, hi. Yeah, that's the ukulele playing. But it was supposedly their quarterback of the future. Is the quarterback a new Trevor Lawrence? Hence, I'm kind of foreshadowing what happened several years ago. Trevor Lawrence came off the bench and led Clemson to victory in his first game action, and it was against Syracuse. Who knew? Is it like, I'm kind of talking like last week. I kind of wonder, is it deja vu? And why am I hearing the voice of Yogi Berra in my head? It's deja vu all over again. And why am I suddenly hearing Dionne Warwick? Deja vu. Could you be the dream that I once knew? Is it you? Isaac Hayes, wherever you are, be proud. You know, I ain't gonna give you the shaft on that one. But I mean, hey, like I said, Syracuse rescued defeat from the jaws of victory. The perfect season's over, but you know, it's how we respond from this loss. It's going to determine what we do the rest of the season and what bowl game we're going to. Forecasts, several of them have us going to the Gator Bowl. A couple of them have us going to the Orange Bowl. But there's still a couple of ones that think, hey, we're not as good as people think, and they have us going to Yankee Stadium to the Pinstripe Bowl, which seems to be our home away from home at times, or to the bowl there in Fenway, the Wasabi Bowl, I think is the name of it. Yeah, you know, forecasts are all over the place, but like I said, it's how we finish, and it starts this Saturday at noon. When the Fighting Irish come into the Dome. Yes, Notre Dame, who's actually having a tough time of it this year, even with their win against the Running Rebels. You know what? Marcus Freeman, he supposedly is a hot new commodity, and I mean every player on Notre Dame wanted him to be the coach. But you know what? Only rocking a Under Armour shirt only goes so far, Marcus Freeman. Right now, Notre Dame's struggling. Right now, he may be at a crossroads. But we'll see how Notre Dame is when they come in and when Syracuse dispatches them, if you know what I mean. Let's go Orange. Let's beat the Fighting Irish. Now I'm going to go from that to talking about the start of the second half of the Bills season. We had our bye week this week, so Josh Allen can rest up those legs after he tries to set the high hurdles record, especially against Kansas City. But can he do it again against our good friends from Wisconsin? Yeah, another team I do respect a little bit because they come from a small market and they made a good deal of it. Green Bay. Yeah, since 1919, the Packers have represented that small Wisconsin city and have done that small Wisconsin city proud. Thank you to Curly Lambeau and then to Vince Lombardi. But you know what? Green Bay is in the other conference. I'd rather root for this conference and my Bills. But you know something? Aaron Rodgers. who I kind of wonder why he hasn't decided to give it up, is still leading this bunch of Packers. And this bunch of Packers doesn't seem to be all that good this year. It always seems with Aaron Rodgers, he can lead Green Bay to the NFC Championship game, but he can't lead them to the Super Bowl. You know what? Some people want to say he's the GOAT of Green Bay. No, Brett Favre's the GOAT of Green Bay. And one other thing, Shailene Woodley isn't interested in you anymore, Mr. Rodgers. And another thing, get a haircut and get a shave. You know what? You may be 38 years old, but you're a bum. Yeah, Green Bay's going to come in and see what Buffalo football is all about. Let's go Bills, let's go Josh Allen. And can Stefon dig the competition against Green Bay? Ting, ting. That's what a flower's going to be after Stefon digs the competition. We'll see. Let's go Buffalo. And you know what? The high school fall season is starting to wind down. It's sectional time. The soccer team for both Waterloo and Mynderse gave it a nice go, but both of them are pretty much out of the competition. But now we got to look for Waterloo's girls volleyball team. It'll be an interesting matchup this Friday night in the gymnasium at Waterloo between two rivals, Waterloo and Geneva. And last week I talked about Lainey Ford. Last week, unfortunately, she was ill. She had bronchitis. But you know what? She is the leader of that bunch of girls. She's the queen of kills and the queen of digs. Dig it. But she doesn't need a shovel, if you know what I mean. And you know what, Lainey? Let's lead Waterloo to victory over Geneva, and let's keep on going. And you know what? Like I said, you and your mother are two of a kind. No one can be as religious as you two, and no one can have as holy a pants as both of you two. And everybody better brace themselves when they see your megawatt smile. Let's go, Miss Ford. Lead these bunch of tigers onto the court. And I do have to say thanks that Mynderse and Waterloo football teams, pretty much mercifully, the seasons are over. Waterloo with a victory against Virtus of Rochester, but Mynderse showing, hey, they can't play football anymore. Losing big time to Canisteo Greenwood. And I guess they face each other again in the 8-man bracket. Who can say, repeat offender? You know what, Mynderse, maybe you ought to fuel yourselves. Go up north of Canisteo Greenwood High School. Maybe you can fill up on some Hornell chili, if you know what I mean. And let's get yourself ready. But I digress. I don't know if anybody can help these Blue Devils. And last but not least, it's getting towards the end of another Formula One season. Max Verstappen is about to win another Formula One World Championship, showing that he is a big face of Formula One, and like his father, he's a chip off of the old block. Jos Verstappen was a pretty decent Formula One driver in his time, but Max has sent it into another millennium. And of course, there's always our friend Lewis Hamilton of Great Britain still running. But what I want to talk about is Logan Sargent. He may become the first Formula One driver from the United States in about 5.5 years since Alexander Rossi. And that has really bothered me for about 35 years. I used to follow Formula One religiously in the 80s and the 90s. But the thing is, American drivers used to be pretty prevalent during Formula One's years in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Thinking Phil Hill, Dan Gurney, Mario Andretti, and all of them. But there hasn't been a major American driver for some time. Eddie Cheever was the driver during the 80s. And for a while, about 15 years ago, Scott Speed was in Formula One. Aptly named, even though he didn't have it to compete with the big boys. But you know, it's time that America had a presence again in Formula One. I know Michael Andretti, who tried it years ago, but only lasted one season at McLaren, is trying to get a team together. And I know others are trying to get an American presence in Formula One. You know what? America is one of the best nations when it comes to driving, especially with NASCAR, IndyCar, and the other series. We got to show the rest of the world what talent we have. Well, of course, sometimes, you know, it takes money, it takes some points, it takes some presence. Of course, many can say it points to Bernie Ecclestone, who used to run Formula One, and his elitiveness. And I just want to say, those Formula One cars and Indy cars looked about the same back in the 80s and 90s. But what has happened? I'm kind of wondering, is Formula One looking like spaceships? I'm kind of wondering what's going to happen next time Max Verstappen or Lewis Hamilton step out of their cars. Is it going to be like this? We come in peace. Don't worry about our helmets, our fire suits, and anything. We come to seek out human life. We come to see what you guys are made of and what you are thinking. Besides, you're all dumb. Is that what's going to happen? We'll see. I'm Ken Haas, and those are my stories for this week.